Dudes Who Bet Sports.
What is up, everybody? Let's get to it. It's another Dudes Who Bet Sports coming at you a little bit early on the week. I think we'll do this once now that you're doing a little driver's ed again. We'll kind of do this a little bit earlier. But Papa Dude, what's up? You're live after 2 days. That's good.
Well, yeah, 1 day of class, and then today we blasted out into the highways, and it was an interesting day. Not too bad. I think most of these kids are going to be okay. This is the first bunch I've had that I don't know. I didn't have them in class. I've subbed them, some, so I kind of know them, but I don't know them in and out like you do when you have them in class for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you get in a car, and you don't really know for sure what their personality is. Do they get shook up when something, can they handle running off the road? And we did have a little girl today that she was in the back seat, and the driver ran off the road. Pretty hefty little run off the road. And she was about done driving, and the other girl was going to drive next, and she kind of had a little bit of a panic attack. So I had to kind of calm her down. So anyway, she did okay. She had never driven hardly much, this other girl. And that scared her.
Hopefully we don't have a lot of stories to talk about this year.
Oh, I hope not, but we will.
Yeah.
They're young and inexperienced, and there's stuff that happens. And it wasn't too bad for a first day. But I had some kids that were pretty sharp today. Now tomorrow is going to be bad. So I already know it. So there's going to be potential trouble tomorrow, but you take it one step at a time and hope for the best. So
Yep, that's all you can do with that kind of job. That's not fun.
They got to learn how to drive a car. They have to.
Yes, absolutely.
You're not making it if you don't have a car.
Well, Shoddy mentions the classic background, and that is the classic background. The very first Racing Dudes logo is in the background today. I thought it was fitting because we're going to do kind of the story of the Racing Dudes and how it got going. You kind of had this idea of doing this. It's in an interview style where you're going to ask me questions about it.
It'll be good.
So it should be a good show. We're going to do that. We'll also talk NHL and NBA playoffs a little bit as well. I'll leave it up to you. What do you want to do first? Do you want to do the interview first? Or do you want to do the playoffs?
Oh, let's do the playoffs.
Okay.
Get those out of the way.
Okay. All right. Let's do the playoffs first then. I like that idea. I've got it on the NHL, so we're going to kick it off on the NHL. All 4 series, whether it's the 2 NHL or the 2 NBA, are all 3-1. So it's a matter of now, are these things going to end, or will we kind of get this 6 or 7 game series in some of these? We'll start with the NHL tonight. That is the Panthers and the Hurricanes. It's now a toss-up, -110 on each side. Who do you got tonight?
Well, secretly in all 4 of these playoffs, I'm hoping it goes 3-2.
Yeah.
Right? Except for one.
Well, except for one, yeah.
I want the Thunder to end that baby tonight.
Right.
Because that's my team, and I just want them to safely get into that round. I don't want to drag that one out anymore, because the more games you play, the more chance you get to lose. So I want the other ones, the team that has 1 win, I want them to win. So are you surprised this is -110 for both?
Yes, I am.
I am too. I will have to tip of the cap to the Hurricanes. I thought they were done, and they dominated Game 4. Do you think the Panthers just thought this is over, and they got caught looking ahead and just overlooked them? You think? Is that what you think? I didn't watch a lot of it, so what do you think?
I thought the Hurricanes kind of were able to shut them down a little bit better. We're able to contain them a little bit better than they had. I don't know that Florida really overlooked them. Maybe just a little bit slow to the puck in Game 4 versus what they had been in the first 3 games. I do think Florida's the team to beat tonight. I mean, if with the price how it is, I have to take Florida.
Well, you do. You can't take the Hurricanes at -17. The only others take the under at 5.5.
You could take the under. Yeah.
If you think the Hurricanes are going to win, I think you take the under.
Yes.
I don't think they can win if it's like 4-2.
No, I don't either. I think they're going to need a tight checking game, and I think they can do that. I just feel like this Florida team, they're almost better on the road than they are at home. And I don't think it's almost, actually. I think they are.
They have been, yeah.
I really don't think it bothers them to go on the road. I think they kind of like it. I just don't think Carolina has enough players. So I'm going to go Florida in this game.
I think so too. I think you have to because they're better.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of, as we say in horse racing, you draw a line through game 4. Just kind of
Yeah.
forget it.
Yeah. They did that against the Maple Leafs in game 6. So it's a game. It's like, okay, they're going to win and close it out. And they didn't, they didn't score in that game either. So it's something they've kind of been known to do in these playoffs.
The thing is, these playoffs, these teams we're to the final, the division championships, the conference championships.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing good teams.
Yeah.
And if you're just off just a little bit psychologically, whatever, your game's not quite as good. The other team's a little bit more charged up than you are.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get beat. And I really think they overlooked them somewhat. And I'm with the Panthers tonight. If I've got to pick a winner, I like the 5.5 too. The only thing about this when you're betting a low scoring game like that, they're pulling their goalies so early.
Yeah.
And it's getting those empty net goals late, and it's killing some of those 5.5s. Now, when it's like 6.5, it's not quite as bad.
Yeah.
But they're pulling, or say you're down 3-1,
mm-hmm.
and they pull that goalie with like 5 minutes to go in the game,
mm-hmm. and
they score to make it 4-1, and they pull them again, and suddenly you lose 5-1.
Yeah.
And that's kind of dicey in these games.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I would rather, if you're going to play unders, I'd play unders in the first periods of these games because you don't have to mess with that. But I am with you on the thought process that it tends to feel like it's going to be an under game. But again, will that actually reflect that? It's kind of hard to know. William Barrows is right. It's all about who's hot when you get into the playoffs. And Florida was not hot, but they got hot, and they're just playing great hockey. And you can really say a lot about Edmonton as well. They weren't all that hot to end the season. They got better towards the very, very last. But yeah, right now it's just, it's really tough to beat those two teams. And with that being said, let's go to tomorrow night where the Oilers are looking to oust the if I could speak, the Dallas Stars. 3-1 there. Mm-hmm. Oilers have been the dominant team in this series for most of it. Does Dallas fight back game 5 and at least make this a series? That's the question.
I sure hope so. I just really did. And I'm not rooting for Dallas. I just want to see more hockey.
Yeah.
And I don't want to wait a week or however long it is till the finals start.
Yeah.
How can you bet Dallas at 135 the way they played? You got to take Edmonton at 115 plus 115, don't you?
That's the thing. I have to. So quick story for me on this series. I bet Dallas to win the series before game 1 started, and I bet Dallas to win game 1 as well. We were watching that game, and at the end of the game, I said, I won't bet Dallas again in this series. And Heather was like, they won, they dominated. I said that the scoreboard looks like they dominated. Edmonton totally dominated all but 6-minute stretch of that game.
Yeah.
I said 5-on-5. There is no doubt Edmonton's a better team, and they've proven that to be a fact with the next 3 games. I did think in game 4, even though it was a loss, Dallas, that was their best game of the series. I do think Dallas can win game 5. I don't give them hardly any chance to win the series, though.
No, not now. Not the way they've looked. And I think it was game 3. They really outshot the Stars or the Oilers in that. That was the game that Skinner was just really good.
They outshot them, but it's a very deceiving stat.
Yeah, they didn't get
a lot of those shots were from the blue line.
Yeah, that's true.
They could not get the inside chances, and that's kind of the you watch Edmonton against Vegas even, and it seemed like Vegas would get more shots, but Edmonton, every shot they got looked like a goal, and that's kind of what's happened in this series. Not so much game 4, but game 2 and 3, it just seems like every chance Edmonton had, it looked like it's going in the net, and every shot Dallas had, minus a few, it just kind of felt like, it was a save, but it wasn't spectacular, except for a few. I mean, Skinner's been really good in this series.
He has. And their defense has.
Yeah.
And they physically have stood up to him.
Yep.
And they got the two best players in the world, arguably.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get the rest of your game going with those guys, and they got some other guys that can put the puck in the net too, man, suddenly you got a team that's almost impossible to beat.
Yeah. And William's saying he thinks it might be McDavid's turn this year. It feels like it to me too, because here's the deal. Like, I think what's happened, I hear a lot of NHL handicappers talk about, well, Edmonton, the goalie's shaky and the defense, I'm not sure. You got to watch the game. How can you say that? That's the thing. Like, I can see, like, when you look at their roster, I can see why you would say that. But then you watch the games and you go, okay, they shut out Vegas in game 4 and game 5. They've totally shut down Dallas in games 2, 3, and 4. They cannot score. These are teams that didn't have trouble scoring in their other series. So, yeah, I get it. We look at it and go, Skinner's not very good. Okay, fair. Right. Oh, this defense isn't that good. Fair. But you watch, they're totally shutting down teams. So you just have to look at it and go, yeah, I get it. It doesn't make sense on paper, but watch the games, and they're shutting these teams down.
They're just beating these people, and these are good teams.
Yeah.
Vegas is dang good, and so is Dallas. And you know what? The Kings that they beat in the first round, they were no pushover.
Yeah.
So to come out of the West, you got to be really good. And Dallas could step it up and get game 5. I won't be surprised if they win.
No, I won't either. I mean, this is more of a, hey, I'm going to take plus money on the team that's been the better team than I'm real confident,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm more confident in Florida beating Carolina than I am Edmonton beating Dallas.
I would agree with that 100%. I still
Dallas a little better.
Yeah, exactly. It's respect for Dallas, and I mean, I'll just say it, lack of respect for Carolina as far as a top-notch team. I like Carolina. I just don't like them in this kind of situation.
Well, I just think Carolina gets everything they can get out of themselves because they just have trouble scoring.
They don't have enough top-end guys, and they don't have enough depth. Like okay, but like for the Blues, for example, they don't really have a lot of top-end guys, but all their lines can score. Where you look at Carolina, and it's just like they just can't get that scoring up and down the lineup. And
the problem with the Blues is you can't tell the fourth line from the first line,
and that's a problem, a different problem than what Carolina has. Yeah.
So that's a bad thing.
That is a bad thing.
If you're gonna win the Stanley Cup, that's a bad thing.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. So, all right, let's go to basketball. Let's go to tonight. This is the one we do want to have end tonight. Yes. OKC 8.5-point favorites here to end the series against the Timberwolves. I thought game 4 was a massive win.
Oh my God!
Feels like, I don't know if they can cover this, but it feels like this is over to me.
I tell you what, we've said this a lot. We don't get into the NBA a lot.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to watch a whole game. I can watch bits and pieces of it. But that game 4 was the best NBA game I have ever seen because, well, first of all, I have a rooting interest in it. But these were two teams that played great. Mm-hmm. You can't point to anything that either one of them. I mean, you got to be stretching it to point what they did wrong.
Oh yeah, they both played great. Yeah,
the Timberwolves, they gave every ounce they had, and I kept watched the whole game. And for those of you that didn't watch it, you don't see this a lot in the NBA. The Thunder could never put them away.
No,
but the T-Wolves could never catch them. Mm-mm. And we're talking a 6-5, 4-point game, almost the entire game.
Yep. And
every time the Thunder looked like they were going to lose the lead, they would make a great shot. And then, boom, here'd come the T-Wolves right back and take away everything the Thunder had done. Mm-hmm. And it just was like that for quarter after quarter. It was just the whole second half was just like this. Two teams playing lights out.
Yep.
And just making clutch shot after clutch shot. And I've not listened to the Thunder players press conference much or the coach. I did listen to that one. These guys they're cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're really down to earth. They were very intelligent with some of the things they said, and I think they knew that was a mammoth win.
Yeah.
Because they beat the Timberwolves. And listen, Minnesota is good.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very good team. They're underrated because they're Minnesota. Nobody knows much about them. Here's what I think the Thunder are going to get them. The Timberwolves role players kept them in the game.
Mm-hmm.
The Thunder shut Edwards down.
Yep.
They shut him down, and he's a stud, and they shut him down. But that he's got two names. I can't ever think of them. What's that? It's Shea's cousin or something. Anyway, what number was he? 10, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How many threes did that guy make?
Yeah.
He just kept burying them. And then DiRienzo, did he miss a shot?
Yeah, I know.
And so the Thunder were stopping Edwards, and then those role players are knocking the bottom out of it. Role players don't shoot as well on the road.
Exactly.
And I think that's where the Thunder are going to get them tonight. And I think somebody asked in the chat, said, what happened in game 3? I have no idea. I've never seen the Thunder play that bad.
Yeah, they just didn't show up game 3.
I think they just thought the series was over.
I think they did too. It was the first 2 games were so easy.
Yeah.
And I think they just kind of they didn't show up. And then, like I said, game 4, it was the exact opposite. They showed up and played their best game.
And they had to beat Minnesota at their best on the road.
Yeah.
And it showed a lot of guts, man. The Thunder star players stepped up.
Yeah, I think the key to this series is kind of what you laid out. The Thunder, and really nobody can, but the Thunder definitely can't match up with Joker. And so the Nuggets series was just tough. They just couldn't. They just had trouble with him. This series, they don't have really trouble with anybody. So I think it's over tonight.
And I was wondering, watching the game, because they were getting killed on the boards.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Hartenstein wasn't in there, and he's their big guy.
Yeah.
And the coach said, we decided to go small. That was part of the game plan. But we didn't plan on playing it that much.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, but we were having so much success offensively, and we felt like we had to score almost every time. We just were afraid to put him in the game.
Yeah.
And he goes, that might be totally different in game 5. You just play a hunch, and you look at matchups and how you played the game before, and you adjust. And he goes, that's why they did it, because they could. How many times did the T-Wolves get a rebound and score?
Yeah. Oh, it was crazy. Yeah.
And I was
lots.
Going, golly. And then,
the Thunder are not great in close games, and that worries me.
They don't play any.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like when that game gets tight, it's like pulling teeth getting that thing home.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
What people don't realize too, they are a veteran team in a sense, but they're very young.
Especially in these situations.
Yeah, they haven't been here.
No. Mm-mm.
And I really believe if they get this one, now you want them to get this one tonight, because you do not want to go back to Minnesota.
No.
You got that game in Minnesota that you had to have.
Yep.
You had to get one there to make it easy on yourself. And if they lose this one, I don't know they're going to go back and get another one.
Yeah, I think it's going 7 if they lose tonight.
And you don't want to get to a game 7.
No, you do not.
When you got a game 5 to close it out at home.
Yep.
So this is huge. I'm with you. 8.5 seems to me like a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
I see why the line's that way, though.
No, I think the line is right, but it's still, I don't know if they'll. I mean, it's a 50-50 thing. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the total? It's 220.
It seems low.
Half of that's 110 to 110.
Yeah, that seems low to me.
but sometimes it ends up 120 to 90.
Yeah.
Well, that's still if somebody can get to 120, you're probably going to get that bet.
Yeah.
So that's one I kind of looked at a little bit. I totally stayed away from this one tonight because I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah, and again, I think it is right. I think 8.5 is the right number. I think 220. That's a large total, even though we think it's going to go over.
What would you have been comfortable with to bet the Thunder?
As far as the
Really
points
feel
go,
good about it. Yeah,
5.5.
me
Probably.
too. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just if the Timberwolves bring it and play like they did in Game 4, I don't think they can beat them by 9 points. I don't.
No, I also
But
don't
I
know
don't know
that's
whether
going to
they
happen.
can do it.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to play like that. So,
Do you think they've had it taken out of them? Because a lot of times, you go out there and these pros, they know how good the Thunder are.
yeah,
The media doesn't. They haven't figured it out yet.
right.
But the players know. And they know that they played their absolute best they can play.
Mm-hmm.
They got beat at home. That's got to take it out of you if the Thunder play well.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to make an 8.5 point difference, but I think it'll make enough of a difference where Oklahoma City wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. The thing with me too, when it's my team, the ones I'm really rooting for, I'm more scared about point spreads than if it wasn't. I'm not looking at this very objectively because I have a fear of losing these games.
Right.
I'm never really confident
Yeah.
in games like this. So, and I can't get that out of my mind how bad they got beat in Game 3.
Well, I mean that's a draw a line through it.
You did draw a line through that.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable how bad they played that night.
Yeah, it was. You just draw a line and forget about that one. Yeah. All right, let's go to tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. We're going to have the Pacers and the Knicks. The Knicks did go get one in Indiana to make this a 3-1 series. They go back home here. They're 4.5 point favorites. All 4 games, the Pacers have been the better team. They blew Game 3, or this thing would already be over. Mm-hmm. Can the Knicks get one at home and at least push this to a Game 6? That's the question here.
Well, again, the Knicks look extremely tired to me. Maybe it's just in my head. They look like they just don't have the depth the Pacers have.
They're not as good.
Brunson looks a little tired.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't he? The big guy, I always get hit with that's Towns, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a screwball. He's a good player, but I don't know. This is hard. These games are really hard to pick. Mm-hmm. Will the Pacers bring it knowing they got Game 6 at home? Or will they just kind of think they got it?
I tend to lean the Knicks in this one.
Huh?
I tend to lean the Knicks in this one.
Do you really? You think they can cover that 4.5?
I don't know if they cover it, but I do think they're going to win.
Okay.
I don't give them hardly any chance to win the series, but I do think they'll make it 3-2.
I hope they do. Again, selfishly, I hope that because I want to keep watching it. I don't think these playoffs start till like the 6th of June, something like that.
I don't think Indiana. I think Indiana's just flat better than New York. I really do, and I really feel like Indiana, Oklahoma City. That's the 2 teams, and I think that's a toss-up.
Oh, I think the Thunder are a little better than they are.
It would be dumb to say the Thunder aren't a little better than them because of the season that's been had for each squad. But this Indiana team from the very first game of the playoffs to now has been fantastic.
Yes, it has.
I mean, I remember the very first game, they were fantastic, and they have been all the way through this.
Wow. They've been so great. I've watched more of it than ever.
Yeah. I mean, if it is Indiana, Oklahoma City, which I strongly believe it's going to be,
it's great.
I think that will be a great series.
Yeah. And the thing that in the East is, I don't want to say it's tainted, but the 2 best regular season teams aren't in this finals because of some injuries. You know, we had some injuries to Cleveland had some players banged up, and then
Yeah.
the Celtics, and that's kind of tainting this a little bit. But you got to give these two teams credit
Mm-hmm.
for how they've played,
Mm-hmm.
and I just think the Knicks have really been game, man. They've hung in there and played probably maybe a little better than what they are.
Yeah.
What do you think of total 222? I think that is always dangerous when the Pacers are involved because they can flat score.
Yeah, it's another one that it seems to be about right. It's tough to make a decision on that one way or another at that 222 and a half. I do think the point spread, if you want to bet that, if you think the Knicks are going to win, I think that point spread's okay. I feel like this, if the Knicks win, they'll cover. You know, I don't think the Knicks are winning by 1 or 2 points. I think it's going to be Knicks by, like 8 or 10, or I think it's going to be a loss for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Like it feels like one of those games to me where it's like, okay, the Knicks, like you said, they've been really game. They played really hard. They've had a nice run here. Kind of like a last stand. We're not losing this at home type of effort for the Knicks.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about this game.
Well, one of those first 2 games they should have won.
Yes.
They blew a huge lead, and that's why they're in the jam.
Yes.
So right now I don't have anything to I think the Pacers are going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would do the plus 4.5. They'll have the thing with Indiana, if they shoot this is stupid because you can say this about any team, but if they shoot the 3 like they usually do, I'm not sure the Knicks can beat them.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Of course, you can say that about any team, but the Pacers specifically, if they shoot the ball well, they're really hard for anybody to beat.
Or like the same as the Thunder.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's going to be a great series because these are the 2 teams that are the most exciting teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, and through the regular season, speaking as a Thunder fan, they didn't have much trouble with the Knicks.
Right.
Indiana has given them fits
because they're kind of carbon copies of each other.
They are.
That's what I think will make that interesting. I think it's going to be a really tough series I think it could go 6 or 7 games. I really do.
Yeah.
If it's Pacers, OKC. Now, okay, so if it is Pacers, OKC, though, you still think OKC will handle them?
Yes.
Okay.
Here's the way I feel. I've felt all along.
Okay.
Even if the Celtics and Cleveland were still in it, I've thought all along if whoever gets through the West should win the whole thing because the West is much more difficult than the East.
Yeah.
So if the Thunder can close this thing out, I'm going to be disappointed if they don't win.
Yeah.
Now the other time they made it to the finals, they lost to LeBron, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a different story.
Yep.
That was when LeBron was in his prime, and it was the Heat that beat him, right?
Yeah, it was LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh.
There's something wrong with that one.
Yep.
But to win 68 games in a regular season and to come through the West, you got to beat Joker to get there. And that went 7, and that showed a lot of guts to win that.
Yeah.
And then if you can close out Minnesota, and let's not forget the Lakers got eliminated, the Warriors got eliminated, there's some teams that got eliminated there.
That's what I'm saying. If it's not this year, I don't know. It feels set up for them.
It's going to be a bitter disappointment if they get to the finals. And no disrespect to the Pacers or the Knicks.
Right.
Pacers won 50 games, the Knicks won 51.
Mm-hmm.
The Thunder won 68. And I know it's the regular season, but that's a huge difference.
Well, it's the expectation level of Oklahoma City fans are like, hey, we got to do this. Where Pacers and Knicks fans, whoever would get there, would be like, wow, we're here. We got nothing to lose. And sometimes that's a very dangerous setup.
I believe it is, especially if you can get game 1.
Yes. Yeah.
But you got to get there first. So we got to win tonight, get that over with, and sit back and hopefully the Knicks win and the Pacers have, maybe the Knicks can steal another one and it goes 7 games. And then you got a team that's a little bit tired coming in with you being rested. But sometimes that's a disadvantage too. So.
Right.
The You know, the playoffs, everybody says winning in hockey is the toughest, and I agree because the physicality of it. But you know what? Winning in the NBA is pretty damn hard too.
Look, any of them's hard.
Oh, it is.
You know, but I agree that it is. It's tough. I mean, these
Yeah.
series are tough.
But you got to win that many games.
It's a lot. Yep.
Yeah. And you got to go through those many rounds, and you got all that traveling to do.
Yep.
There's no doubt in my mind. You know, you got to win a lot in baseball too.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a grind. Yeah. It's a
football.
Grind.
You don't have to win as many.
You're right. The difference with baseball is it is just, you know, it's not. It doesn't take a toll on your body.
No,
right? I mean,
it's more your mind.
Right. Baseball. Yes.
In basketball and hockey, it's the physical.
Yeah.
I mean, even basketball, you're getting the shit knocked out of you.
Yeah, I mean, basketball is less physical than hockey, obviously, but still, it's something.
Hockey is,
it's
oh my god, those guys
survival.
It's they just knock the crap out.
We didn't talk about it, but if it is Florida Edmonton in a rematch, which I think it's going to be,
God, I don't know.
What do you? I tend to say the same thing. I'm just not sure.
Edmonton will have home ice, right?
Yeah.
I got to go with them, I think. We still got some hockey left.
Yes.
So let's watch the rest of these things. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's
going to be a classic.
It will be fantastic.
It's going to be one of the best ever, I think.
It will.
Because of what happened last year. I mean,
yeah,
it's going to be awesome.
I'm secretly pulling for Edmonton. I know you don't like them. I kind of do. And I'm just kind of secretly pulling. I don't really care. It's not going to bother me one way or the other.
I'm definitely pulling for Florida, but I'm not going to be upset.
I like Florida too.
I love Florida. Yeah. I love to watch the
Canadian team win it. So I don't know why.
Yeah, and look, like William talked about with Connor McDavid. I mean, the great NHL players, they all deserve to win a Stanley Cup at some point, and if he gets it, that'd be all right. You know.
By the way, while I'm thinking of it, if you love hockey and you don't have anything to do, go to YouTube, Google Wayne Gretzky interviews.
Yep.
Did you see the one he did with your boy? The guy you told me to go watch?
Who?
Oh, that guy that did the Lane Kiffin thing.
Oh, Theo Vaughn?
Yeah.
He was on Gretzky. I know. I have not seen that one. No.
Well, first of all, Wayne Gretzky has more class than any athlete of his stature that I've ever seen. That guy's the most likable guy.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yep.
And he did that interview. And Wayne Gretzky is no way close to Theo Vaughn as far as their personalities.
No.
And he did know who he was. I was surprised.
Yeah.
He was cool as a cute. It was just like, I've seen two interviews with him. One was with him and one was with Joe Buck.
Yeah, I saw the Joe Buck one. Yeah.
And that was great. And then this one, he's the same with Theo Vaughn. Theo Vaun doesn't know anything about hockey. Very little. But you could tell Theo Vaughn's just mesmerized by what this guy's saying. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a world-class person.
Yeah, while we're talking about hockey, what a great guy. What a down-to-earth, nice guy.
Yep.
And I learned some stuff about him. How up in Canada, if you're in juniors or whatever, you move away from home.
Yep.
Somewhere where you can play with whatever team you're with or however that works. And he left home when he was like 14 and he lived with his family to play hockey in Toronto maybe or somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to listen to these hockey guys and what they go through.
Yeah. He was a very young age. People were selling out buildings to watch.
Yes.
Him.
Yes.
Young.
Yeah. When he was 6, he made a 10-year-old team.
Right. Yeah. And Connor McDavid, kind of the same kind of thing in a way. From a very young age, he was the chosen one. Yeah.
But he's more brash and outspoken than Gretzky.
Yeah, he is in some regards, but in some regards not either. He's pretty low key.
A lot of things have changed between the 80s when Gretzky was playing and now these heights.
Exactly.
And now the social media and everything else has changed so much.
Exactly. That's the thing. Those guys can't be in obscurity all the time anymore, so. But
Very interesting, though. If you want to just hear a good interview with a classy human being,
Yep.
He's something else.
He's the best. He's very, very intelligent too. Like you said, he can sit there and talk.
You know who
about
he said was the
anything.
best teammate?
Who's that?
Brett Hull.
Really?
Brett Hull is so smart. You can't believe how smart that guy is.
There you go.
He is so much fun.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah. If you want to watch more about hockey players, you can go watch the hockey documentary on Amazon Prime, and I think it's called Face Off, but I cannot remember it now. They follow guys through the playoffs last year, and yeah, they're all likable, every one of them.
They really are.
Yeah. So it's good to watch that stuff for sure.
One more thing before we get to the interview.
Okay.
So that we got to mention.
Okay.
Because we're huge fans.
Oh yeah, I know where you're going here. Yep.
Oklahoma softball.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd ever be a girls softball fan. I watched it all weekend.
Yep.
The sub-regionals.
Yep.
Now, I wouldn't if OU wasn't so good. I'll be the first to admit that.
Right. Yeah.
But I've gotten into it. These girls are so. I'm not talking about Oklahoma. I'm talking about everybody. Are so good. It is amazing how good they are.
Yeah, and that's going to start tomorrow. Will be the World Series.
All 8 teams play tomorrow.
Yep.
OU 9th straight year to the Women's College World Series.
Yep.
Unheard of. Again, they've won 4 straight national championships. It'll never be done again. I don't care what, unless they do it.
Right. Yeah.
Lost some of the greatest softball players that ever played.
They lost basically not the whole team, but almost all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
All new players.
Won 4 straight national championships and went 63-1 one season. They almost went undefeated in softball and lost by 1 run, or they would have.
Yep.
Then last year, they had a bad season. They lost like 5.
Right.
And this year, it's just awful. They've lost 7.
Yeah.
With a whole new team.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they're going to win it. I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're as good as they've been, but they're playing as good as anybody. And you talk about coaching. This gal, what's she been there? 35 years at OU, something like that. It's unbelievable. It's an amazing story. And I'm not going to be able to watch it tomorrow because they start at 2 or 1:30 or something. I won't be home. But that scares me. The game scares me anyway. But it's if you just want to watch a beautiful sport, those girls, are you not amazed at how good they are?
Yeah, I'm amazed by how quick they got to be because the game is played like on a little league field, basically.
It is.
The ball's coming at you so fast, whether you're up there hitting or you're playing third or second or short.
Yeah.
And to make those plays kind of in a box like that is pretty amazing.
And they are. And the way they throw the ball, my God.
Yeah.
Run the bases.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, it's good.
They're really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's really catching on throughout the country too.
Yep.
I can't watch a college baseball game. I just can't watch it. It's too slow.
I agree. I can't. The regionals start there, and I just can't. I don't have the patience for that.
Okay. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. I can't wait.
Well, it'll be fun. Yeah, like I said, it starts tomorrow. 8 teams tomorrow, and we'll kind of start breaking it down.
I'll admit that when OU, if they do get eliminated, I probably won't watch any more of it. But.
OU's not going to get eliminated. I can tell you that right now.
They got a tough game tomorrow at Tennessee.
Well, they're all tough. They're in the final 8.
That's
so
right.
I mean,
no disgrace to lose.
No.
The way the pairings ended up, the 2 games tomorrow, the first 2, all involve SEC teams. And that's just the way it ended up. Florida plays Texas, and Oklahoma plays Tennessee.
Yep.
Is that the only 4? I think that's the 4 SEC teams.
No, I think there's somebody else. I thought that Ole Miss is in there. They play Texas.
Oh, that's right. They beat Arkansas. That's right.
Ole Miss plays Tech.
And you know who I'm picking?
Tech.
As the sleeper?
Tech.
Texas Tech.
Yeah, they got the girl that's a great
scares
pitcher.
me to death.
Yep.
And they can hit it, and they can hit it.
Mm-hmm. No, Texas Tech, they're going to be tough with her. They're going to be really tough.
Really tough. They scare me. So
yep. I agree.
I'm glad they're over on the other side.
Agree.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go. That's enough.
Okay. Yep. All right. Well, we'll keep you next week. Hopefully, we're talking about a championship or championship series. We'll see.
5 in a row. You kidding me? That would be unbelievable.
I mean, I don't know who they're the top seed left. So, it's obviously going to be tough. The game's going to be tough.
Old buddies, Texas A&M choked again.
Yeah. I mean, it's Texas, the team that, Oklahoma's better than them. They've shown that.
Texas should have got beat.
Yeah. And OU should be the favorite. It's just, can they go ahead and do it? But
I don't know.
Yeah.
Their pitching is just, I don't know how they do it. It's not great, but they win. So,
yep.
They can hit the ball. I know that.
Yep.
So, we'll see. Can't bet against them. That's for sure.
No. Well, you can't bet, period. So,
no, that's right. That's
ridiculous, but whatever.
It is. You would think they would have some lines on this.
You would think, yeah.
It's kind of a big deal.
Before we go on, A&M underachieving never gets old. It's funny.
Love it.
Every A&M graduate that you talk to before every sport starts, it's the same thing. We're so good. We're going to be so good. They've recruited so well. I don't see how they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Every time in the offseason. And then you get there and it's like, and so finally, like, I know one, and he's a good guy, don't get me wrong, but every offseason of football, I see, there's just their defensive line is unbelievable. Yeah. I'm like, dude, like, you guys never do anything. Like, where does this blind confidence come every year? Like,
every year.
What are you talking about? Like, if you guys win 8, it's been a great year for you guys. Like,
well, it's normal.
I think you're going to go to the national championship. It's like, that'll be the first time, like, what, in 300 years? Like,
probably ever.
And I swear to God to you, every year I hear that.
Yeah. Have they ever made the playoffs? I don't think they have.
No, well, I don't remember if they have.
I don't
every summer, though. This is the year. Come on.
No.
Yeah.
They were the number 1 seed in softball and got beat.
Yeah. They got beat in the Liberty beat them because that's A&M in a nutshell right there.
It really is.
And then you might think, well, maybe Liberty was good. No, they got swept by Oregon in the Supers. So it's like that. They choked.
Well, I heard him saying college baseball, they were the number 1 seeded team, or number 1 ranked team when the season started.
Yeah.
They didn't even make the regionals.
No. And 13 teams in the SEC made a regional, and they didn't.
Well, and the other funny thing was Missouri went down there. Missouri had the worst team ever.
Yeah.
And swept them.
Exactly.
They hadn't won an SEC game. And they didn't lose. They were getting beat 20-0, 15-0. It was awful. Yeah. Went down there, and that's probably why A&M didn't make the regionals. They lost 3 straight to Missouri at home.
Well, it's funny because when Missouri and A&M jumped to the SEC, okay, they were the first ones. Well, they're the first ones to go to the SEC. I think Nebraska went to the Big Ten first in Colorado. But anyway, to the Pac-12. But when they jumped, everybody was, A&M, they've added A&M. And it's like, guys, you look at the last 20 years, Missouri's been a much better team than A&M in football. It's not even close. Much better. They go there and win all the time. And that's the other thing. Oh, nobody goes to A&M and win. Everybody goes to A&M and win if they're good.
If you're good,
a good team beats them. Yes. Like
if you're good.
Oh, Notre Dame's good. Well, they're going to beat them. Nope. I mean, it's crazy. But anyway.
It is. Yeah, I love it.
Anyway, that's that. We consider, but it's just hysterical how their fans are so optimistic every year.
Yeah. I know. I've never done anything.
Yeah. No. They got Jimbo. Everybody thought, oh my God, they're going to be so good. And then by the time he's gone, I was like, well, it was just a big mistake getting Jimbo. And it's like,
yeah.
We got an A&M guy now. Okay, great. Anyway, all right. Yeah, exactly. That's the last thing you need.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we were going to talk about where this crazy website got started.
Okay, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. You asked one of the questions. Go ahead and repeat that question. The first one you asked.
One I asked you was, where did the name come from?
Right. So yeah,
we'll
we'll go ahead
and kind of condense it a little bit.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and answer that one a lot quicker than I did. But so basically what happened was we decided we wanted to do the website, right? Like we decided, okay, let's do it. And basically what happened, I was sending Jared like messages and he's like, hey, let's just put it on a website, see what happens. So that's how it kind of started. But anyway, we met at a place in Springfield and just wrote down hundreds of names. And that was the name that just kept sticking through. We thought it would pop out. We thought the branding would be good. We thought it would stand out if somebody heard it, they would remember it. So yeah, that's where it started. That's how the name got going. We just met and threw a bunch of names, and that was the one that stuck.
Okay, and again, it just came out of nowhere, right? He just kind of and you guys. You have some marketing background, both of you do, because you went to college and majored in that. So you kind of had an idea of what you were doing when you started.
Right.
As far as marketing something and building something, you kind of had a little bit of an idea.
Yeah, we did. We had a really good idea. We had a vision for what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
What it isn't at all kind of what we thought it would be. Okay, I'll say that. But yeah, we had a good idea. We had a plan, like we had it planned out for sure.
This wasn't just a crazy thing.
No, like we had an idea for a goal of what we wanted it to be. Again, it turned into something different, like things usually do. But the name was just, it was a lot of different stuff. We had a lot of generic stuff. We had a lot of kind of crazy stuff. But that was the one that just we're like, I think that's what it needs to be. And the last kind of step was racingdudes.com was available as a website. A lot of that stuff isn't, and that one was, so we were able to use it.
Okay. When you started, did you have visions of grandeur? Did you have any expectations that this was going to work?
Yeah, I think definitely that's a Jared yes. He was definitely the one that thought it could be, a business, this or that. I wouldn't say I thought we could make zero money with it, but I thought we could make maybe some, maybe it's a side gig, maybe it's something like that. So yeah. But no, Jared always thought it would be huge, and that's kind of the approach he took. He said, let's make this look huge, even though it's not. So he was always really good about making things, look a lot more professional or bigger or more high tech than it was. Okay. And so that was a big factor in it, right? Because I was basically just throw the content up and then, okay, now let's make it look as good as we could. In the beginning, it was a very simple website, but once we got some money, we quickly updated the site.
Right. Okay, so you did have some expectations that maybe this might bloom into something, but you kind of thought it's just a sideline.
For sure.
Something to do for fun in our spare time, kind of.
So we joked the goal was to pet a horse. Like that was the first goal. Like we wrote them down, and that was the first one. Get to pet a horse, and so we met Jeremy Stone at Oaklawn.
Yeah, I was going to talk about him.
All-time good guy, and well, if you're going to talk about him, I'll wait. But
okay, we'll get to that in just a minute.
Okay, all right.
So that was kind of the next question.
Okay.
In order to make this work, you obviously have to meet some people.
Yeah.
That are going to help you, because you guys had no connections to anybody in the horse industry.
No.
You were in the infant stages, really. You didn't know near as much as you knew something, but you weren't real versed in it. You know what I mean? You didn't understand the industry too much.
Not at all.
So you had to have some people along the way that helped you get to the backside, more or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I know the answers to these, but what people helped you the most?
Yeah, for sure. So, like you said, we knew how to look at a form and handicap. That's it. Right. And we knew we were not in the industry. We didn't know horse people. We Didn't
You
know
would go to the
anything
track.
about anything.
You would go to the track and you didn't talk to anybody.
No, it was just we would go. We knew it was fun. We liked to go.
Yeah.
And we were obsessed with it, but we didn't know anybody. So yeah, Jeremy Stone was the first person we met.
And Jeremy Stone was the owner of a horse.
Yeah, Jeremy Stone owned a horse named One More Week. He was a $5,000 claimer for that was trained by Donnie K. Von Hemel. And I was always, from the very first day I went to the racetrack, a fan of the Von Hemels, whether it be Donnie K or their dad Don or Kelly, who became much better than just a friend. But anyway, Jeremy Stone reached out to us, and I didn't know who Jeremy Stone was, but because he
saw you on the website, right?
Yeah, he saw the website, and he saw we wrote an article about something that had to do with Oaklawn. I think I wrote like an Oaklawn report. Well, Jeremy Stone's an Oaklawn guy, so
he was an Oaklawn guy.
Yeah, so but their stable name wasn't. He wasn't in the program. He ran under a stable name, and for the life of me, I can't remember the name now. Seems like it was Little River Racing, I want to say. So anyway, and he said, "Hey, I own this horse One More Week," and I was like, "I know who that horse is." And he's like, "I'm going to meet you at the track next time you come down." It was probably for the Rebel, I would imagine, or maybe the Southwest. He's like, "I'll take you back to the barns," and we're like, "Whoa, few months, couple months, we're going to get to pet the horse,
Yeah.
And what was really cool about that is it was Donnie K's barn. So he took us to One More Week, and we were petting him, and it's like, that's really cool. And then he's like, "Okay, you want to go meet Caleb's posse and Alternation," which at the time,
big time horses.
I mean, Caleb's posse had just won the Breeders' Cup Mile, dirt mile, and Alternation was getting ready to go on a run and win the Oaklawn Handicap and the Razorback. So anyway, two big time horses. So we got to meet them, and that was super cool. I mean, and that was kind of that was the start of like getting to meet the people on the backside. And then to fast forward it, so Donnie K has always been like super nice to us, but Donnie K he's not an outgoing type, You kind of have to, he knows us, he likes us, but he's just not he's not a social guy, right?
No, that's it.
Jeremy said, "You need to meet a guy named Kelby Von Hemel." He was 20 years old at the time. He said he's learning how to be, or no, he's a apprentice farrier. He already learned how to do it, but he's apprentice right now, and then he's going to be a farrier. And we said, "Okay, that sounds good."
Is somebody that shoes horses.
Yeah, and we said, "All right, yeah, that sounds good." And I said, "Kelby Von Hemel." I said, "Is that a son? What is it?" It's Kelly Von Hemel's son. I said, "Okay, sounds good." So we met Kelby, and we did an article on him and videos on him. And I mean, he was just the nicest kid, the shyest kid I've ever met at first.
Yeah,
couldn't get him to say hardly anything. And now, he's consider him one of my good friends, top 5 probably. Yeah.
Exactly. But he's a great guy.
But that's what started it. And so we met Kelby, and Kelby taught us a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we met his dad, and that's he really in the beginning. That was kind of
would you say meeting Kelly? I know you give him so much credit. That was the big break you needed, was to meet a guy like him.
Yes,
who knew so many people and was so widely respected.
Yeah,
and so unassuming. And he knew that he wanted to help you. And then, of course, you met his son, and your son then told his dad all about you guys. Is that the biggest? Is that the thing you needed the most?
Yeah.
You give him more credit than anyone else?
That was, I give 2 people the most, and I would give him number 1.
Okay.
Because he is one of these people that he wants to help new people. He understands that we need young people.
Yeah.
So whether it would have been us or whether it's been people since then, he is there to help. But he's unbelievable because he's the nicest person you could ever be, ever. I've never met a nicer person.
Yep.
But he also
he's the same every day, right?
He is. He's forgotten more about horsing than horse racing than we'll ever know.
Right.
He's just really, really sharp, and he's not the type. He's not going to sit down and lecture you on it, but like he's an open book. I mean, you ask him anything, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. And it also just kind of, he doesn't really understand this as much, but like his encouragement was really important to us too. Like, the first 3 or 4 years of a business, you're like, I don't know if this is going anywhere. And he would always, we'd see him. He goes, you guys just keep it up. You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah.
And for somebody that actually, he was a person that had a lot of validity. It's like, okay, all right, we will, And so he always made it a point, early on to come say hi to us and stuff. I'll never forget. We didn't know him that well at all. Only talked to him twice, and we went to Prairie Meadows. And I think Kelby was like shoeing or something. So we went to the track without him, and Kelly had a horse running. And so we went over, kind of stood by the number up on where the people stand. And he saw us immediately. He came over there. He's here, what's going on, guys? Talked to us forever. Said, come back to the barn right after this race. We'll hang out. That kind of stuff means a lot when you don't know anybody,
Exactly.
So yeah, the Von Hemel family as a whole, his wife Pam has helped a lot too, just here and there.
Who's the second person?
Well, John White, I think it's 2 different aspects. It's Kelly that taught a bunch 2 kids that knew nothing about how this thing
operates. Have somebody like that.
Yeah, and then John teaching you about horse racing and how to handicap and how to bet and how to
and the Von Hemel family was so well respected in the racing industry that once they became attached to you, people were going to say, "Hey, they're legit."
Yeah,
Von Hemel's like them,
I think that was part of it for sure.
Yeah.
Certain people probably looked at that and said, "Yeah, that's a stamp of approval in some ways." Yeah.
Yeah, because they're well respected. They've been in the industry forever.
Yeah.
And they're good. They know what they're doing. So
and like I said, I was a big fan of Kelly's before we even had the website. Like,
exactly. And
I remember watching Semaphore Man at Oaklawn, and
he's had some great horses, and then
those
Don
horses up in Iowa, Red Hot and Gold, and those horses. I mean,
and Don's had some great ones too.
Yeah, now Don, we never really got to know him. He's and he's retired now, but we never. He was an older guy, and he really didn't have any. He didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just trying to do his job and that kind of thing. He's a nice guy. I mean, we've talked to him a time or two. He's a very friendly guy, but
Okay, so along the way, you've met D. Wayne Lucas, and he's always been very supportive as well, right? Yeah.
So I should mention his grandson Brady Lucas. I think
that's another one. Yeah,
I tell you what, he helped a lot, and he gave us some experiences that we really didn't deserve to have. Because he's just a really, really nice guy. Really nice. So Brady Lucas helped us a ton. We got in the paddock for the Arkansas Derby. We got in the winner circle when Take Charge Brandy won the Breeders' Cup. And that day when she won the Breeders' Cup, we were standing there and Brady came down and we was like, man, Brady, congratulations. We weren't asking to go in there or anything. And he's like, oh, wasn't that awesome, guys? Get in here right now. And it's like, oh, that's that kind of stuff. Those people don't have to do it.
You better believe it.
So Brady Lucas for sure in the beginning. And it's funny, I saw him a couple of years ago and I hadn't seen him in a long time. He's in the military and boy, he's been all over the place. He's in the Air Force. And I saw him at the Derby a couple of years ago and he's like, damn, you guys have blown up since I talked to you. It's like, yeah, we have, but he was cool. He was really cool.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to throw out some names. You got to know, I can't think of his name, Darren Fletcher.
Oh, Darren Fleming, yeah.
Fleming, one of the Asmussen's
a little bit.
trainers. You know him a little bit now.
A little bit, yeah. Danny Caldwell.
Caldwell, who's a prominent owner. He helped you some, right?
Danny definitely, yeah. Danny helped a lot. Good, really good guy. Don't talk to him as much anymore, but still a really good guy. Really,
well, you just don't run in the circles that he does like you used to.
No, we used to
on a lot more than you used to.
That's the thing. Like I don't still go as much, but yeah, when I was there, we'd see Danny. Yeah, Danny
Down to
would
earth.
get us into the carousel club every once in a while, and that was fun. So yeah,
He's a good guy.
good guy.
What do you think helped you the most to gain credibility? What is there an event or something that happened to where you knew now we're creditable? We're gaining the credibility that we need. We're beginning to turn the corner.
It's a lot of different things I think that have to happen.
Okay.
You can't really point to one thing.
Okay.
I think a big thing from a handicapping standpoint and from like when our sales started to maybe have a little bit of a jump is when Tonalist beat California Chrome and we had him picked and Tonalist beat him in the Belmont. That was big.
So that helps to have that.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, with this business, it's just repetitive. Got to be there every day. Got to do a good job every day, type of thing.
Right. To me, I feel like this was something. I don't know how you feel about it, but what was the significance of the podcast? Because you guys started doing podcasts when people weren't doing podcasts as much as they are now. Was that Jared's idea?
All Jared. Yep, all Jared. So I didn't know what they were.
Okay.
No.
To me, I thought that was a major step when you guys began doing the podcast and people saw you.
Oh, 100%. I think that was a big thing. When the podcast started, that was, like I said, it was all Jared's idea. I didn't know what it was. And I was like, I don't really know that we need to do that. He's like, yes, we do. I was like, okay, fine. So he got that going. And at the time, Saratoga Slim told me this. He said at the time, why I found you guys was because you and Steve Bick, who's a radio show that's done it for forever, were the only two racing podcasts out there when you searched it. So he said, that's how I found you guys. So yeah, that was a big thing. Big thing.
Yeah. Because people need to see your personalities.
Mm-hmm.
They need to put a face with whoever's writing the articles.
Right.
And then when they see your personalities, and I've always thought the key to all of us that have ever worked for you, for the most part, all of us, there's a few that aren't like this. We've never come across, and if we have, we don't mean to, as being the total experts on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We've never talked down to the people we're talking to.
No.
We've always tried to be honest. And I think that is one of the major things about this website. Yeah, we got to get races right. We have to get enough of them right. But you got to gain trust of the people. And I think if you go, hey, look, I don't know on this horse, guys. I'm going to pick the horse, but don't bet the whole bank on it because I'm not sure. And I think we've always come across as, hey, this is our opinion. You may have a totally different opinion than we do, and that's fine because this is horse racing. But this is who we like, and this is why. And to me, and I think the podcast, I watch other podcasts and I see these guys and they come across as know-it-alls. Some of them do. I don't like that.
No, I don't either.
He's right.
You kind of go back to the second part of John White to me is like the professor of racing, basically. And I remember when I met him, just like how John will never sit there and said, okay, he's like Kelly in some ways. Like, I'm not going to sit. He doesn't say, I'm going to sit here and teach you guys things. It's just like, you just listen to him and you learn. Right. And
he throws out information.
Yeah. He's not preaching at you. You're having a conversation with him about stuff. And I remember one time, or not one time, but the first time I met him, within like 30 minutes of the 8-hour conversation we had, he was like, look, don't ever let anybody tell you to not celebrate a win in this sport. He said, I don't care what the odds are. I don't care what the bet is. If you win, celebrate it because trust me, it's hard. And I thought, man, that's interesting from a guy that like I have viewed of like this wizard. You know what I mean?
Well, he's realistic. He misses just as many as anybody else.
Yeah. And he didn't,
just like we all do.
He didn't tell me that to like, I'm going to teach this guy something. He just was being flat out honest, you know? So, yeah. So real quick before we go on, I do want to, it started in 2012, Curtis, 2012. And yes, we did get to pet Kale's posse. Yes. So, and
I think
yeah,
I liked it too.
I think you did. Yeah, you were with us.
I remember going back there, and it was so much fun.
Remember
And,
Crystal? I think she's still.
Crystal. I still see Crystal.
Yeah, Crystal was super nice to us that day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember feeding them peppermints.
Yeah.
And
Kale's posse was a very mean horse.
Yeah.
And Alternation was a very friendly horse. I remember that.
Remember that one? You were up there with Kelly, and he said, "Stay away from that retard," because he was so mean, and he had bit him on the shoulder or something. He hated that horse. Remember that?
Oh gosh, I cannot remember.
He hated that horse.
Oh boy, I can't remember that horse.
If I heard it, I'd know it. But remember, the owner would always run that horse in a $12,500 claimer, and he couldn't win a $2,000 claimer.
Yep.
Kelly was so mad that he.
Yep, he hated that horse. Oh boy, I can't remember him. We were petting him, and he's like, $500, you can have him.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know. He goes, how about 500 pesos? I don't know.
And he said, don't turn your back on that retard.
Yeah, he said, don't turn your back on him. Yep. Yeah, I don't think he called him that, what you're saying. But
that's what you said, he said.
Well, maybe we shouldn't say that on the air.
Okay, but anyway, it was funny. It's so cool that, he.
Yeah, this is a really good hit here.
There you go.
The try at the Breeders' Cup. Yep, in 2007. That was at Del Mar. That was fun. Exactly. Stop saying that. Okay, go on.
Okay, the next thing. I remember when COVID hit. You thought you were doomed.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
So explain how COVID hit and how it changed everything for the good.
Yeah, it was a very God, what a time. Yeah, so we were down to Will Rogers, Fauner, Tampa Bay Downs, Gulfstream Park, and Los Alamitos. And
Oakland, didn't you?
And Oakland.
Yeah.
And we were at the tipping point. It's like, if one of these other big tracks closed, we're done.
Yeah.
And and Magic had just started with us.
Yeah.
And I remember calling him. I'm like, look, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And you always try to keep enough in the reserve for 6 months to cover 6 months of no income, right? And so we did. We had that.
And both of you had quit your jobs that you had.
You
were doing this the whole time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That 5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So, yeah. And, anyway, we were worried. And so, but it absolutely did the opposite, because everything else shut down. And thankfully, horse racing was so obscure, that the politicians didn't really care about it. And it was so like, we're not stopping. Like at those tracks, they're just like, they're going to have to come and lock the door. We're not stopping.
Right.
And I mean, it absolutely gave horse racing the biggest shot in the arm it's ever gotten, in my opinion.
Because the bettors had to bet something.
And we
right?
got a lot of people,
didn't know anything. Right.
Yep.
And so, because they couldn't bet on anything but horse racing, and they have to bet something because it's in their blood, they're addicted or whatever you want to call it. Wow.
I remember I went to the Will Rogers Down opening day 2020, which was the only day they allowed fans there.
Yeah.
It was the Monday after all the sports shut down. They opened up Will Rogers Downs. Walked in, got an alert on my phone that Keeneland just canceled their whole meet. And I thought to myself, this will be the last day I watch racing for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
And it just never, like I said, Will Rogers didn't allow people. There were only like 20 people there anyway. So no big deal. But all of a sudden, Will Rogers became this track that was handling millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And Fauner Park.
Park.
And we didn't even cover Fauner. And quickly we did, so. Yeah, it was crazy. COVID definitely. And yeah, like a lot of people found us through COVID. Yeah. Tons. Because the thing is, we were ready for an influx of people because of what I said about Jared. He always built things bigger and better than what we
always
needed.
updates it. Yeah.
And we are great on Google SEO. And so a lot of new people were typing in horse racing picks, and we were the first site that came up, so we were able to take advantage of it because we were ready for it.
Yeah. And it boomed. It just boomed.
It was crazy. And it lasted from March through, about September.
Right. But
and then it kind of slowly came back to normal.
But you kept a lot of those people.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You gain new people.
You gain new people, and some of them stayed, and then some of them left because they went back to their sports. But yeah, it was a huge shot in the arm for racing. Yeah. And, I live, obviously the 2 Triple Crowns, and that definitely helps racing for sure, but nothing helped racing like COVID. I mean, it wasn't even close.
Yeah. And I remember, those trainers saying, hey, these horses have got to run.
Yeah.
We got to have some place to take these horses, so we might as well run them.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like you'd have 14 horse fields, because tracks were shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild. We were, like I said, they tried hard to shut down Gulfstream, and Gulfstream just would not let them do it.
Yeah, well, they were making a fortune.
Yeah, they were trying to bully Gulfstream into closing, and they said, we're not doing it. And the whole thing was like, we test people every day, and it only takes 5 people or whatever to run this thing, which it's not really.
And
I had heard. I had heard rumors that COVID was on the backside of all those tracks, while it was happening.
I can't imagine it not being.
No, they just kept going.
Thank God.
Yeah, but that's horseman. That's horseman for you. If a horseman is sick, they don't take a day off.
No,
forget about COVID. They're there every day.
COVID's a little different. Yeah.
Well, they would still show up.
Yeah, but some of them had to stay home because some of them got really sick. D. Wayne was one of them.
Yeah, your older guys.
Yeah.
Some of them. Yeah.
It's amazing though how COVID gave you a boom that you needed.
Well, it's interesting to me because Kelby told me one time, he said, I really think COVID went through the Oaklawn backside in February. Because he said, man, there were a lot of people sick. He said, I was one of them. He said, I never got it during COVID.
Yeah.
So
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people don't realize how hard of work this is to do this every day.
Yeah, it is. But, I think you could be doing a lot worse, like training horses,
Well, I know that, but it is hard work to keep a website going. It's very hard work. It's very stressful.
Yeah.
Certain times of the year, especially.
Yeah.
And it's, there are many, many advantages. You can do it at home,
and
that's good. And so it's been a hell of a ride.
Yeah. It was
years, unbelievable, really.
It was super hard. It was super hard to keep going when we weren't making any money because, from 2012 to 2014, we made $0.
I remember when you got a sponsor.
Yep.
And Sim Horse Racing. Holy shit, we got a sponsor.
Yep.
We got a little income here. I don't know what it was, but you got a sponsor that wanted to sponsor on the website, and that was a big deal.
Yeah, simhorseracing.com was the first sponsor.
Yeah.
Emily runs it, and Emily was still is a really good friend of ours. Yeah,
gal that wanted to had some kind of foot cream for the horses.
No, it wasn't foot cream. It was just it was called Nixol. That was during 18 or 19, I think, or 17 something. Yeah. Anyway, it wasn't. It's just for cuts, basically.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Right. Yeah, that was one. Then you get her through Kelly or Kelby.
No, we got them because she saw an article in the Springfield News Leader.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So it's an amazing story. How you can do this? You got to have some breaks along the way, but you also got to do things right. And
the biggest break you have to have is you have to You have to get picked up by Google. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
How hard is that?
It nearly impossible, and I have no idea how we did it. That's kind of, well, I do. So I basically was doing articles, right, for the website. Like that was our website was articles.
Yeah.
And I told Jared, I said, we need to do free picks, because here's what I would do in the morning. I would go to Oaklawn and get their free picks. And then I would go to, Naira, and then I would go to Gulfstream. And I was like, if we made a website where you could just go to one site for these picks, I think that we could get people to come. And he's like, I think it's a really good idea. I'll set up the pages where you can fill them out. And so
they were free.
Yeah, they were free. And we did maybe 5 tracks to start. And it's like, oh, some people are coming. I was like, okay, let's get all the tracks. So we were the first ones to do that. And I think that's why it got picked up, because people did the same thing I did. I'm going to go here, 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 and here, all these different places to get them. Now you can get them all, and we did all the tracks, and you can get them here at one website.
I didn't know you were the first ones to do it.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, again.
Yep.
That's not luck. That's been smart, and
well,
make your own luck. That's what
so there's a lot of people will try to sell you like SEO plans and stuff like that, and really the only way you can rank is to consistently provide content every single day that people want to come back to the site every single day. And so then the algorithm starts to see, person X is going to this site every day. They're spending 5 minutes on the site and they're leaving, and then they're doing the same thing. And now there's 20 people, and now there's 100 people. And so all of a sudden you move up the charts.
Yeah. Well, that's fascinating.
And I think that's kind of why we got to where we ranked to where we are now. But, and I think you can't, if you want to rank for something now, you're going to have to come up with something new,
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the other thing. Like Link says, you guys did Hazel Park back when it was still open, and we were the only ones to do so. And that was kind of the thing. Like when we did like 8 tracks way back when we started. And I said, there may not be that many people that want picks for, say, Arapahoe Park or, wherever, Hazel. Let's just put when it was running. So let's just throw it out there, because you might get 10 or 12 people, and then
it
don't coming every day.
It doesn't take you very much more time to do that.
Well, to be honest, like that's a big thing. Like a lot of people that they just handicap, like, not the Naira circuit or Gulfstream or San Diego, they're like, I just don't know how you do that many tracks. And the honest truth of it is, when you get down to a track like Hazel Park, it really doesn't take all that long, because there's not a lot of horses, number one. And then number two, there's not a lot of good horses. So it's like, you can narrow it down to 3 to 4 pretty quick.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, it's a fascinating story. And again,
it's crazy. Like I said, we had a lot of, what's that?
Nothing. What did you say?
We had a lot of help. I mean, but we also,
you got to have help, but you got to make your own luck. We've
always been good about try things. Might not work, might work, but just try it. If it doesn't work, okay, forget it. Go on to something else. Like, I think the worst, like if you're trying to create something new, no matter what genre you're in, don't be afraid to throw shit out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like the Magic Mike show is a good example. Like Magic came to us with an idea. What the Magic Mike show was supposed to be versus what it is now is 2 different things, because you adapt to what people want. But
you change with the times.
The biggest thing about it is, we could have said, we don't need another podcast, or I don't really trust Magic and Samich, who have never even met and don't know anything about each other, to do a show. We could have done that, but it's like, you know what? Try it. If it sucks, we can take you off. And within 5 shows, everybody was like, yeah, this is really good. It's like, because it worked,
Yeah, they were good.
They just were really good. And little did we know back in, I think that was like 17 or 18, that show. So I don't know. It may have been sooner or earlier, sooner. But anyway, little did we know, Magic's working at FanDuel. Samich is working at VEASAN. They're two professionals,
Exactly. Yeah. And that was luck that not luck, but it was a good fortune that you got those guys.
Oh, it was very much luck. Just real quick on these two. Look, I'll say this: these two guys were the cornerstones of building it bigger than what it even was when they got here, right?
Yeah.
We've had really good guys. Ricky Pasternak was very good. Saratoga Slim probably could have been the best ever, but
he's slim.
He's slim. Love him to death, but hard.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a mind of his own. I'll just say that.
He's slim.
He's just not. He's going to do what he wants to do, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's okay.
But these two, Samich and Magic, and Samich is still here, obviously. In Magic, I think he's still going to do the Magic Mike show, but they were lucky that we got him. I mean, Magic found us, through the website, and so did Samich. And Samich, I sent an email saying how much he'd like to do something with this, and blah blah blah. And the last line of the email is, "I'm a huge St. Louis Blues fan, just like you." And I never ever would have replied to that email if he hadn't said that. And that's the truth. The deal is, like, we get emails, right? And Ricky was just an email too, and for some reason, I don't know why we replied to him, but when Samich said that, I said, "Oh, how bad could he be?" We'll email him back, and then it's like, oh, he's really good at this, actually, So, and Magic's just super nice. He's just super, super nice, and he works super. Nobody works harder than that guy. He's the hardest working guy.
He's a good guy.
Yep, no, and he was just like I said, he just learned so much. Yeah,
but I'm getting back. You got to have luck, but you make your own luck. I know when your mom and I bought that sporting goods store, it was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have nothing in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to run a store. She kind of did, but we took some chances, made some good decisions. But the number one thing, I told her was, we got to get people in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we got to figure out some way to do it. And I said, we got to provide the best service we can provide.
Mm-hmm.
And we might not make a lot of money off certain things, but if we can get them satisfied, they'll come back.
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, we would argue a lot about, well, hey, we're not making that much money on this stuff. And I said, yeah, but they're coming here. And they'll come back and buy another pair of shoes. And they'll come back and buy another one. And they'll bring their kids. And they'll tell people that, hey, they're cheaper than they are somewhere else.
Yeah.
And on uniforms, we don't have to get rich. We don't have to make a bunch of money on uniform. But let's go ahead and outfit this team in uniforms. And it gives you credibility. And you just have to do things like that. You got to eat it sometimes. You don't make a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
I remember when Silver Dollar City came to us and they wanted to do 10,000 caps. And Silver Dollar City, for those of you that don't know, this is a big outfit. This is a huge theme park. Yeah. This was unbelievable. I had a connection.
Yeah.
And they got me through these hats because we had sold them to his baseball team and he liked the brand of the hat.
Right.
10,000 of them, I think we made a quarter a hat.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 50 cents. And that doesn't sound like anything, but we had 10,000 of them. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. I remember
those. And people come in and they go, "You're doing hats for Silver Dollar City?" I said, "Oh, yes, we're big time, baby."
Well, you talk about taking a risk. How about this? And you got to give Jared a lot of credit for this. He had a job working for a Walmart vendor down in Northwest Arkansas, which that's a good job. People want those jobs.
Yeah.
And he quit for this.
He did. And I was shocked.
And he quit when we had no reason to quit.
I know.
And
I remember that very well. And I thought, hey, these guys are doing all right. Jared's quit his job.
And we really, we weren't. We weren't doing enough to cover what he was making. Exactly. I guarantee you that.
Now, to be fair, he didn't like his job that well, right?
No, he didn't. But to be fair, you still got to pay your bills.
Absolutely.
But you know,
when you told me, hey, Jared's going full time, and I said,
yeah,
you guys are doing all right.
yeah, yeah,
Cool
yeah.
stuff. It really is. And, anytime you do a business, you got to take risks, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
you got to accept the bad with the good, because there's going to be some decisions you make that are just stupid.
Yeah. Oh,
But
and we've made so many dumb, and that's the thing. Again, that's what I'll tell you. I mean,
yeah,
you got to be, I'm not saying don't be, you got to think about things. You got to be like, you got to think it out. But if you think something's going to work, try it. And you could always, you know when to stop when it's failing. But
and another thing is too, when you get into something and you don't really know for sure what you're doing, you better find some people within the industry that you trust.
yeah,
And you better listen to them, because they know.
yeah.
And we had the Nike shoe salesman that I became very close to.
Right.
And he told me from the very first time I ever met him, he goes, if I tell you that shoe is going to sell, you better listen to me. Because he said, you're going to look at these shoes and you're not going to like them.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but you're not buying them.
Right.
Kids are. And he was right. The first time I ever bought shoes, I didn't like what I bought, but he said, that's going to sell. Get it. And I said, it's 100. And this was at the time when this was an outlandish price.
Right.
It was $135. I can't remember the player's name. He played for Michigan. He was in the Fab Five, and he was a good pro.
Chris Webber?
Yeah, it was Chris Webber's.
Yeah.
And they were colorful and everything, and they were $135. It was the highest shoe in the catalog. And he goes, don't buy very many of them. Bring 5 or 6. Put them in your store. You'll sell them. And he goes, you don't have that much money invested in them, but people are going to come in and go, hey, he's got the Chris Webber. Because these kids know. Yeah. They know these shoes.
Yeah.
And he was right. And so I listened to him. And I listened to anytime Nike told me anything, I did it. And then I had a couple of salesmen that sold certain things that advised me, don't do this, don't do that. And I believed him. Ted Hartzler was one up in St. Louis.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever Ted told me to do, I did it, because he'd been in the business for 25 years. He knew what he was talking about. And that's like me. And he helped me so much.
That's the thing. It's like with the sporting goods store, you wanted a sporting goods store, and then, okay, now how do I do it? Okay, these are the people I can trust. Exactly. Right. And that's with us. It's like when Ryan Stillman was the one that introduced me to John White, I knew that I could handicap horses. Yeah. Now I'm light years better now than I was then, but I wasn't bad at it. Right.
No.
But I knew I needed somebody that's been in the trenches. And I just didn't have that. I mean, as much as I love Kelly, he's not a handicapper. He was teaching me the other part of the business, right? He's a good handicapper, but that's not what he does for a living, you know? And so that was just the other thing. It's like, okay, now I could try to learn from this guy. Now, the one thing I'd never, really thought would happen is, like, I'm also talking to John about Skeens versus Arizona today. You know what I mean? So he's a great guy. You become friends with him too, but that's it. I talk to John more about baseball and other sports now than racing most of the time, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, exactly. And then, like you said, you just learn. You got people from all facets that you could kind of lean on. Because listen, I'll tell a quick story. I was what year was that? I think that was maybe the end of 2023, I think. Yeah, it was December of 23, and I was pretty much done. I really mean that. I was done. It had been a long year. I was really discouraged. I'd had some losses. I didn't take it very well. I didn't react to it well. First time my whole career doing this, where I was just like, you know what? I don't think I can do it.
Yeah.
And that wasn't all that long ago. You think about it.
Through a little bit of burnout.
It wasn't even that. It was just
couldn't get them right. You were just
I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Yeah. I'm being open and honest with everybody.
You're in a freaking slump. We all do.
I just felt awful. And we went to Vegas, and John, he came with us, and I remember I woke up. It was the first day of college football bowl games, and we had some bets we wanted to make. So we got up at 8 a.m. and we went down together, and watched the games, and had coffee. And I said, John, I just don't know how I can get over this losing. I can't get over it. And he's like, and I was like, how do you handle it? And he goes, you don't, there isn't a secret to handling it. And he told me a long story about these guys that had were the best of the best of the best. And he said they hit he was talking about sports betting. He's like, they hit 54% of the time. He's like, that means 46% of the time they're losing.
That's right.
He's like, so how, if these guys can only win this amount, how can you sit here and get upset when you lose?
That's right.
And I don't know what it was about the conversation, but it hit me. It's like, this is stupid. Like, not what he's saying, but my mindset was like, you're really dumb and you should have known better. But it was just, I just needed somebody with that experience to talk to at the time.
When you do this every day, you go through ups and downs where you just get in a rut.
Yep.
And everything you think goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about sports more than the horse racing, but
yeah,
you think, I feel pretty solid today about these. I got 4 good ones here. I feel solid. You lose all 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you might lose a couple really at the last. Or it's even worse when you just get blown out. You don't even get close to getting it right. And you bet them to win by 3 points, they get beat by 30. Stuff like that. And you just scratch your head and go, I don't think I'm ever going to get another one right. And then it bounces the other way sometimes. So
yeah, the biggest thing that you just have to remember that kind of hit me that day. It's just like we've said it a lot since that kind of on the show. We've said it a few times. It's like the moment you think you are responsible for your wins and you are responsible for your losses is the moment you're done. And that is what I needed to realize more than anything else.
Yeah.
You are responsible for doing the work. Okay.
Yeah.
You're responsible for making an informed wager that makes sense based on your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yes. If you think Florida is -140, should be -140, and they're -110, you just bet it. And then what happens. You don't have any control.
You got to accept it. Yeah.
And that was the moment when I got back into the right headspace of do you really think this is all when you get it right, it's because you're a genius, and when you get it wrong, because you're an idiot? If you really think that, you truly are an idiot, because it's just not like that. That's what it is.
It's the same way. And I wished I had been a little more mature, and I wished I had learned it a little bit better, and a little bit. I know it now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the secret of coaching.
Yeah,
you need your team to play the best they can play.
Yeah,
and you don't take credit for the wins, and you don't blame yourself when you get beat.
Yep,
that's all you can do.
If you can get to that mindset, you can survive and gamble.
I couldn't do that at a young age. I just blame myself every time we get beat, even though I knew my kids had played the best they can play. They couldn't play any better. They weren't very good.
Yeah, right.
And was really frustrated when you got a team that plays their ass off and they can stay in games, but they can't win because they can't make a shot when you have to, or they can't stop the team when they have to. They play their ass off. And they give you everything they got, and you lose by 4 points when really you probably should have lost by 12. But they played so hard, and you feel bad for them. That's when coaching is tough. When you don't have the studs that you got to have, and the bottom line is, any great coach that's got any sense at all will tell you, I got players, I got guys that can play. And I put them in the right spots and coach them right, and they do what they're supposed to do, and they win. Because you don't win very many games. Players do.
Yeah.
You got to have them. And they got to be able to play in the clutch.
That's
can't. So
That's what I told one of my friends one time after a season. I'm not gonna mention who it was or the team or anything, but I went up to him and I said, "Man, you did a hell of a job with this
I know
team."
what you're talking about. He
And
did.
he said, "What?" He said, "We went 500." I said, "Yeah, but you should have won like 6." I said,
Yeah.
"So you may have went 14-14, but you were not a 14-14 team."
No,
You know, I said, "So
you
you
did.
got everything you could get out of them." You
You
know,
do that. That's all you can do.
yeah. And I remember another time he was coaching even worse. I mean, just a team that should have won 1 or 2 and they won 8, I think. And I did the same thing. He's like, "We're terrible." I was like, "Yeah, you are, but they're beyond bad. I don't know how you won a game, but you won 8 with them, you know?"
Yeah.
So anyway,
I know there's a thin line between winning and losing. And sometimes you got to get the lucky bounce. You got to get a call. You got to just some stuff you just get beat, and you got to accept it. And man, it's tough.
And I was talking. Mike brings up. Mike says results oriented thinking is why most fail at gambling. Yeah. And I only agree because I've been there, right? And then making a great bet and losing is part of the territory. So John and I bet the Braves, and I cannot remember, is 3 or 4 days ago, maybe 5 days ago. And they lost 2-1. And John's like, "Can you believe this?" You know, but we both sat there and went, "Well, look, if you would have told me before it happened that the Braves were going to give up 2 runs, wouldn't you have bet them 100 times out of 100?
Absolutely.
Because I don't remember who was pitching, but it wasn't anybody great, you know."
Yeah.
I said the bet was right. They just didn't come through.
They do it.
We knew that they were going to shut down this team. They didn't hit.
They didn't score. Yeah. It's like the other night in that Vegas game when they lost 1-0 in overtime to Edmonton.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you bet Vegas and they shut out Edmonton the whole damn game and they don't win, what the hell are you? You know, you're just so damn mad, but you made the right bet.
Yeah.
They didn't score.
If I would have told you, great bet, Edmonton scoring 0 goals in 3 periods.
Yeah.
You may have bet $1 million
exactly
on Vegas to win the game.
And that's what happens.
But
the other thing people don't understand with sports betting, you can't pick the easy games. You got to pick hard ones.
Well, yeah.
Because you don't make, like whoever's playing the Rockies. Well, you can't pick them to win.
No.
You'll make like $10. That's on a $100 bet. And
you know,
chance to lose.
Yeah, they're usually the teams playing them usually like minus 350.
Yeah.
You know, they did, and once again, John and I picked up on this one too. They played the Phillies and they played them in Colorado. Yeah. And every game, for whatever reason, it was like minus 200 or minus 190. I think there might have been one night there minus 240. And we just kind of were like, you know what, let's play it because no, that's not right. Like they should be minus 300 or so. So we didn't, you had to bet a little more. You didn't make quite as much, but still there are like spots where it's like, I know that I don't really typically lay like minus 200, but shit, it's the Phillies against the Rockies. Yeah, I'll do it. You know what I mean? So
I usually try to put them in a parlay with somebody.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that too. Yeah. So. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, usually I think,
you got these teams that are really good.
Yeah.
Can't make any money off of them because they're way favored every time,
Well, you have to wait till they play somebody good and then
and then hope. Yeah. So it's tough.
Well, baseball is hard right now because I feel like there's a few good teams and then a lot of bad teams. There's not a lot of middle ground,
It's tough.
Sometimes those middle teams are where you can make it.
Yeah.
Because they're never priced too bad.
No, but they got to win.
Decent,
Yeah, but they're not great, so they lose a lot.
No, baseball. I think baseball's been tough this year so far.
It's awful.
I haven't bet it a lot.
Funny. I keep track of just money line stuff, and I can't get I'm doing really good with National League teams. I can't get the American League. It's awful. I can't get the Red Sox. I can't get the Tampa Bay. I can't get Toronto. I can't get the Royals.
Well, to be fair, it's very hard to predict those teams.
I can't get Seattle. I can't get the Angels.
Oh, Seattle drives me crazy.
Yeah, they do.
I can't figure them out.
No. So
Cannot figure them out.
Right now, I can get the Cubs. I get the Cubs every night.
Cubs, well, I mean,
they're pretty
very
good. Still,
They're
I
very
can get it. I know when they're going to lose. I bet against them. I'm pretty good with the Cubs.
They're good. They're very good.
So anyway,
how often do you guys bet golf? I've never bet golf ever. Never have. Know people that do.
Now I'll tell you what, Trish. I don't watch golf anymore because I quit watching it since Tiger. Now, when Tiger was playing, and I knew these golfers a lot better than I do, that might have been kind of fun to bet. That might have been, but I just don't follow it anymore.
I've had few people tell me that I need to bet golf, but I haven't.
Yeah, I'd have to really start studying it. By the way,
and I don't want to do that.
Charlie won a tournament. Charlie Woods.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, that's Tiger's kid.
Oh, okay.
You don't know who Charlie Woods is? Boy, you don't watch golf. He looks just like Tiger.
How old is he now?
Like 15, something like that. He didn't win a PGA. It was a junior tournament.
Okay.
I think he's his first one, maybe, or second. I don't know. Anyway, I think he'll be pretty good if he can handle the pressure of being Tiger's kid.
Right. Yeah.
He can bash that ball.
It's weird. I just don't have any interest, and I don't want to get back into it. I've got too much other, and
you got to give up something.
Yeah, and I don't want to give up anything.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know. Maybe in the summer after hockey's over.
I don't think I'd get in golf again.
I can't because then I don't know. Saratoga starts and Del Mar, and I don't know.
There's just too much going on.
Don't have a lot of time. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I do, but anyway, not happening. I don't think. I don't know.
I do know Scotty Scheffler. Is that? I guess who she's talking. I do know who that is.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
That may be about all.
I know. I'd probably
Rory. I know Rory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
About it.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we killed it in 2 hours.
I was gonna say, I think we've done enough here for this one.
I'm sure I can never get this back, but anyway.
I will be on in an hour and 18 minutes if you want to go watch VSiN Mad Dog.
Okay.
So it's on Mad Dog Sports Radio, and it's also on the VSiN YouTube page. You can check it out. I'll be on from 7 to 7:30 Central Time with Patrick and Dustin. So we'll talk NHL, and then I don't know what else, whatever Patrick wants. So be on there soon. This is over, and then Blinkers off and Magic Mike tomorrow. We will have a Magic Mike tomorrow. Didn't have one last week, but we will be back tomorrow doing Churchill Downs. So
all
right. Next week will be the Belmont, of course. Everything Belmont related.
Busy next week.
Oh boy. Yep.
Oh boy, is right.
Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy week. I'm traveling Friday, so we'll be there Friday. We'll get there Friday and be at the track Saturday and Sunday. What's that?
You're going?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That will be hectic then.
Yep. Be a crazy weekend for sure.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun. Yep. Got to see a lot of people up there. Got to go back to Saratoga. That's my place. So away from home in summer.
Saratoga. That's why you're going. I get it.
Exactly.
Why in the hell are you going to New York? But I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it now.
Makes sense. See the friends. So
all right. I got it. Okay.
All right, boys and girls, we're out of here. Good. Everybody have a good rest of your Wednesday. Everybody, thanks for listening. We will be back next week for more, and we'll be back tomorrow for our regular Blinkers Off and Magic Mike. All right, guys, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you right back here for this show, probably on Wednesday next week as well. Probably Wednesday, and we'll be covering the Belmont. And like Manila says, right now it's 6 horses.
Well, that'll be easy to handicap then.
Yeah, it won't take a lot of time. You don't have to look up very many. But
it won't take time. So there you go.
Maybe a hard decision on who to pick. I don't know.
That's true.
I'm kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Because you got, I don't want to get into it. We'll talk about it more later.
You'll be talking about it in tomorrow.
I think it's a very complicated race.
Well, I just haven't put my brain to it yet. So
All right.
No, you didn't make it on time, Magic.
No. Glad we talked about you, though. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here, guys.
Really brutal, too.
Magic, have a great rest of your day. Everybody else as well. And we'll see you next time.